weeks. It took just 3 days for the latest installment in the Legend of Zelda franchise to sell more than 10 million copies.
Nintendo has followed up a triumph with a triumph.
Like, you will constantly be wanting to play this game.
Really a very worthy sequel.
Probably get lost in this thing.
We are not getting another game like this for a long, long time.
Game of the Year. After 6 long years, Tears of the Kingdom hit store shelves 3 weeks ago. It was one of the most anticipated games in recent memory, but in spite of ridiculously high expectations, was met with universal critical acclaim upon its release. The game's faced allegations of being nothing more than $70 DLC, just a re-release of one of Nintendo's best-selling games. However, it's clear that the people who've been propagating these rumors haven't played the game themselves, otherwise they'd know it's a worthy sequel.
It's beautiful.
My playthrough of this game so far has been spectacular. I've been impressed on every front. This game is a rare example of a AAA studio producing a game of AAA quality, and here's why. Many people remember Breath of the Wild for its tranquil, beautiful setting, with immense mountain peaks, deserts, and valleys, unique and lively villages, and breathtaking vistas. The world felt so real, and it was yours to explore. Climb a mountain, chat it up with the villagers, ride a horse through a valley, it was up to you. And thanks to the stunning art direction, something amazing was around every corner. Tears of the Kingdom takes place in the same Hyrule as Breath of the Wild, so it gets to piggyback off the successes of its predecessor. Now, this was initially worrying to me. I wasn't sure how Nintendo was going to differentiate the worlds enough to solidify Tears of the Kingdom as a real sequel rather than just DLC. So much of the fun of Breath of the Wild came from discovery, journeying across the map, finding new landmarks and towns, and seeing show-stopping sights. Tears of the Kingdom reinvigorates the spirit of exploration by essentially saying, okay, Breath of the Wild had 1 map, so let's add 2 more.
I had to double it.
The Sky Islands and the Depths. The Sky Islands have been the marketing strategy for this game, and for good reason. As you're exploring the overworld, tremendous looming structures fill the sky, and you just think,
Gotta see that.
the Sky Islands extend the scope of discovery so much. You feel compelled to find a way up to the islands to see what mysteries they have in store. Some of the most breathtaking moments in Breath of the Wild came from the views atop high structures and mountain peaks. Now, the dev team must have kept this in mind because the Sky Islands take this to another level. The views from the Sky Islands are stunningly gorgeous. They make me forget I'm playing the game on a Switch. Also, the Sky Islands house a few of the main quest lines, like the Water and Wind Temple, which I really liked. Ascending into the sky via an archipelago of Sky Islands had such an adventurous feel. The lead up to the Wind Temple was probably my favorite of them all. Killua, I mean Tulin,
This is so amazing! Stalking the stalker, huh?
joins your side, and you're told to make your way up into the storm that's been ravaging Rito Village. The beginnings of a vast network of floating temple-like structures ascends into the sky and into the clouds. I started making my way up into the storm, ascending higher and higher. Eventually, I had made it so high my winter gear wasn't keeping me warm enough and I started to freeze. This lead-up gave the reveal of the temple and my short stay in it so much impact. I had made it all the way to the top in spite of the raging weather. The world in Tears of the Kingdom feels so incredibly alive. Things from Breath of the Wild, like temperature changing from region to region, affecting the gear you can wear, alongside all the villages and different species, make Hyrule feel so vast. Revisiting all these familiar locations and seeing how they've been affected by the upheaval, the game's big catastrophe, makes the world feel real. You get to see how events that occurred in the game have affected their surrounding environment. This makes playing Tears of the Kingdom incredibly fun for those who've played Breath of the Wild, but also incredibly enjoyable for those who've never seen the sites before. It's a really well implemented way to create a fun and new experience for new and returning players alike. The first 10 or 15 hours of my playthrough I spent exploring the surface map. I completed the Rito Village arc, unlocked a bunch of Skyview towers, and visited a few Sky Islands. Then I realized that there was a main quest telling me to go into the depths.
Wait a minute!
The what? I may or may not have realized that the depths were even in the game until about 15 hours in. Now, apparently, after seeing the opening cutscene with Link and Zelda, most people's first instinct was to just hurl themselves into the pit underneath Hyrule Castle. Anyway, I finally decided to go check out the depths, and oh my god, they're ginormous. The depths are literally the size as the surface map. The islands are pretty vast, but they're spread out. The depths are just Hyrule too! Okay, well, considering the size of this place, it must just be a barren wasteland. There's no way there's gonna be like a ton of cool stuff down there to find.
Nice job, team.
There is so much content in Tears of the Kingdom, it can be downright overwhelming. Multiple times during my playthrough, I got stuck trying to decide if I should explore a new area in the depths, a sky island, do a side quest, find shrines. There's so much content. I'm running around going, whoa, I gotta see that. Whoa, I gotta see that. Whoa. The map changes in new areas aren't the only additions in the game. I haven't even mentioned the new abilities. The abilities in Breath of the Wild gave the game so much character. They allowed for players to approach encounters in unique and creative ways and find unorthodox solutions to problems. The new abilities in Tears of the Kingdom take this idea and run with it. First, you've got Ultra Hand, which allows you to build any vehicle you can imagine. If you haven't played the game, but you've been online lately, you've probably seen it being used to build war machines and dispose of Koroks by violating the Geneva Convention. Ultra Hand adds a whole dimension of creativity to the game. Rewind is also sick. The whole world turns gray when you use it and everything stops for a sec. Rewind is super useful, and you can even rewind stuff you've moved around with Ultra Hand, which I've personally used to cheese 50% of the game's shrines.
This is big brain time.
Ascend has a neat story behind its addition. The director of the game, Hidemaru Fujibayashi, fucking nailed it, said the Ascend ability originated as a debug tool to make playing the game easier for developers. The producer, Aonuma, mentioned that cheating could be fun, so they decided to add it into the real game. That's rich coming from the company that patched the duplication glitch a week after it was discovered. Joke's on them though, the community found another one within the next day.
I am better!
Finally, there's the Fuse ability. Now, Fuse must have been a tremendous undertaking for the development team because you can attach almost any consumable to a weapon or shield to either boost its stats or give an ability relating to the attached item. Now, for example, I have these lightning spikes that I collected while riding on the back of a dragon. Just buy the game. I attach them to a weapon, now my weapon stuns enemies. There's so many interactions you could make an entire video covering them. They add a whole nother layer to the combat, allowing you to really get creative with how you'd like to approach an encounter. Yet, I still just brute forced my way through every single one. Hopefully you're more creative than I am. The theme of this game is creativity. All the tools the developers gave Link are so versatile and they can be used in so many different ways. Most of the shrines in the game have more solutions than you can count. I was stuck on this one shrine where you had to rotate this cube and somehow get to the top. After spending 5 minutes trying to figure it out, I gave up. I thought outside the box and used a rocket shield to completely skip the entire puzzle.
I win.
Hell, half the challenges in the game can be solved by just building a big-ass bridge. It's beautiful. One of the things that made Breath of the Wild such a special game was the fact that if you could think of something, you could probably do it. What if I stick this arrow into flame? It lights on fire. What if I roll this rock down a hill? It smashes those enemies. What if I jump off this ledge, drop one bomb, then drop the other bomb, then detonate the first bomb? You speedrun. The systems they built into this game allow for the player to create their own experiences. Tears of the Kingdom takes this to the next level. By making the abilities even more creative, you introduce even more versatility and create even more room for player ideas to flourish. In layman's terms, the game is fun. Exploring is fun. Building stuff is fun. Combat is fun. Almost everything you do in this game is just plain and simple fun. Everything added in Tears of the Kingdom expands player capabilities and impact. The amazing tools and physics of the sandbox, in combination with the stunning world, create an unbelievably memorable experience that everyone who plays video games should experience. There's a good reason why every critic and their mother are giving this game outstanding reviews. Now, there's only two departments that this game's lacking in. The first is the story and characters. Every time I hear a voice-acted character, my cringe detector goes off the charts.
It sounds like someone posting cringe!
First off, the voice acting sounds like My Hero Academia English dub.
I don't know if I'm nearly as great as my ancestor was.
So it's my mission to fight the Demon King with you?
Hey, yo!
Thankfully, this doesn't hinder the game really at all, as its main purpose isn't telling a gripping narrative with interesting characters. Regardless, better characters could have taken the game, especially the story bits, to another level. But even the cringe was no match for the spectacles the game threw at me. The second gripe many people have with this game is the fact that it's on the Switch. AKA, the game runs at 30 FPS and there are occasional frame drops, especially if you get creative enough. Now, I would be lying if I said that I didn't want to play this game in 4K at 120 FPS on a beastly gaming computer. However, I think the art department hard carries the game here. I almost never found myself thinking about performance, rather marveling over the absolute beauty of the game. It looks fantastic. Not many games get me to voluntarily take a break from the gameplay just so I can admire the scenery for a bit, but I've done it at least 20 times when playing this one. So while better performance would of course been preferred, the fact that this thing is running on the Switch and looking as good as it does is wild regardless. I am so happy this game turned out the way it did. In case you all forgot, Tears of the Kingdom was delayed. Its original release date was going to be sometime in March 2022. Usually a delay means bad news. But in this case, it shows us how important delays can be in receiving quality final products. Tears of the Kingdom managed to recapture the magic of Breath of the Wild and expand upon it, creating a game that makes its predecessor feel like a tech demo. It's made me genuinely excited about video games again and reminded me of the amazing experiences that games can provide when the dev team really puts in the time, effort, and passion. It's fantastic a game of this quality is getting the attention it deserves and getting the kind of traction that it has when it comes to sales. When a game like this sells, we're showing Nintendo and all the other AAA studios out there that passion sells games. Tears of the Kingdom makes me hopeful for the future of the games industry.
Okay, that's all the time I've got. I gotta get back to playing
Tears of the Kingdom
on my Nintendo
Switch.
Let me know what you guys think about the game in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching. See ya.